This is episode 156 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. Welcome to episode 156 of the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. I have Rodney Rodricks on the show today, and that name just rolls off the tongue. Rodney was a great interview. He talked all about Florida investing with me, as well as what he's doing up here in Canada. So he's a Canadian investing in the US, just like the podcast name from Glenn Sutherland, which I highly recommend you check out, by the way, if you haven't already, if you're interested in US investing. But Rodney goes into it here. He's done a lot of single families down in Orlando, Florida. He talks about his strategy of what he's done, how he's acquired, and then how he's used refinance dollars down there to grow more and more. He talks about his mentorship, the coaching that he's taken, and the things that have aligned and allowed for him to accomplish what he's done so far. Rodney works full time, so this isn't like he went full on in real estate. He's done a lot of passive investing, so it's a bit of a different flavor for this episode. It's not that aggressive burst strategy. It's more of the patience and strategic acquisitions type of strategy, which really seems to have worked for him. So it was a cool conversation. I think you're going to enjoy it. Just before we jump into the episode, as always, I'm going to ask you to just take a moment to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, or now Spotify lets you rate and review podcasts as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell, and leave me a comment. Just let me know what you think. It'll help the algorithm so more people can find this show. For those interested, I don't often mention this, but if you have already been going through the podcast and you have questions you'd like to talk to me directly about, I do offer now on my website a Ask Me Anything session. So whether it's development, whether it's real estate, whether it's Florida investing or trailer parks or anything in between, you want to go over a deal or you want to just talk general concepts, I'm willing to do that. And that can be booked right through the website. It'll put it right on my calendar, and we can either do a Zoom or a phone call to hopefully help get your questions answered. Now, with that out of the way, I hope everyone's been following the trucker convoy, and hopefully we are seeing some change here in Ontario by the time this episode airs on Sunday. That will have happened yesterday. Of course, I'm recording this in advance, so I don't know what happened yesterday when you're hearing this. Let's really hope that we see a step towards freedom here in Canada. And obviously, my thanks to any truckers and everyone who's supported this and helped make noise about this and posted about this on their social media. Strongly encourage you, speak your mind, speak your truth. I found the community here and the community that follows me on Instagram has been incredibly receptive to a lot of the things that I post about, which obviously we've gone tangent from real estate a few times, but it's something that I feel is important. Canada's changing. Canada's gone away from freedom, and it's really, really inspiring to see the people push back. So hopefully it was a success yesterday, and hopefully they stay there as long as they need to create the change that we need to, that peaceful revolution that I know so many people are hoping for. So without further ado, let's jump into episode 156, which I know you're going to enjoy, with Rodney Rodricks. Hello and welcome to the Andrew Hines Real Estate Investing Podcast. I have Rodney Rodricks on the show, and I just told him how much I like that name. That's a winning name. But first off, Rodney, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's totally an honor to be here. I've kind of been almost a student of yours, unbeknownst to you, that I watch all of your recordings religiously. That's my first thing. Sunday morning, wake up and watch them. I owe so much to this show and to you for just kind of wanting to share everything you have, and it's my honor to be here, honestly.
Well, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. And if you don't mind, I mean, I'm not even sure how we got connected. How did we end up booking this session here?
So I was watching your show, and one of the shows you had Quentin on that show, Quentin D'Souza.
Okay.
So because I'm in close proximity to him, so I reached out to him, and I've actually taken up mentoring with him right now.
Okay.
Of course, naturally, I had wanted to connect with you as well, and just to talk. On an earlier show of yours, I had seen you talk about your investments in Florida.
Okay.
And how you wanted to venture there, and that whole 2 weeks or that month or something you spent over there. And I watched that interview as well with the gentleman there who does the buy and renovate and sell. I forget his name.
Oh yeah, Julius. Yeah.
Yes, Julius. So that kind of really got me wanting to reach out to you and talk to you about Florida, because I've been there for the last 5 years and loving it, and like everything about there, the sand, the sunshine, the golf, the fishing, and all of that stuff. That's why when you mentioned there that you were looking at working with some new builders there on the short term rentals, that's when I wanted to just kind of pick your brain and see what
Yeah.
that's all about, because that's what something I'm looking at in Florida as well. And that's how I connected with you. And
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks for refreshing my memory because I just booked like 17 interviews over the last couple of weeks. So getting that bank build up before the baby comes.
that's
So
amazing. Yeah, that's exciting times. I went through all of that like 10, 20 years ago, and I still miss it, though. I'll tell you that. It's like later, I still miss every one of those days with the kids when they were young.
oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going on a ride soon, that's for sure. But yeah, so you've been investing for a while. You said Florida for 5 years you've been investing?
Yes. It started with me. So I've been working for the banks for ever since I came here to Canada in 1996. And in 2006, almost 10 years, I met one of the colleagues that I was working with. Actually, him and his father were looking at, I guess, at that time they were talking about investing in Florida, and then the big crash happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was 2008, 2007, and 2008. And in 2012 was when they kind of saw the market rebounding, and they jumped in there. So I had been kind of talking to this now he was now a friend of mine, and I told him I expressed interest in also wanting to invest in Florida along with them, and he said, yeah, his dad actually provides mentorship, and I know, and also from watching your show, that the best way to do any of these endeavors is to get a good mentor and someone who can kind of show you the
Mm-hmm.
ropes. So you don't. I'm a firm believer in not reinventing the wheel.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I joined up with this friend of mine and his dad. His dad coached me. And I think it was 2016 finally when I actually bought homes in Florida. And I started off with refinancing my principal home here and went shopping. And I got two single family homes there. They were both two bed and two washrooms, and they were just as cheap as like 110,000 US dollars at that time.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and because at that time,
Condos?
no, single family homes,
Oh wow. Okay, that's
single
great.
family homes
What
in
city?
Orlando, Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah. So it was great. So all of a sudden, I was an investor and a homeowner in the U.S. At that time, the banks were not actually that open to giving like to loans or financing Canadians because they had no financial history of ours, of course. But again, the advantage of having the coach was that he actually introduced me to Canadian banks that were operating out of the US, like Nat Bank and Desjardins, and I think RBC also does it now, and TD. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so what they do is they actually have access to your credit in Canada.
Right.
And yeah, so I used those two homes as collateral, and then I was able to borrow up to 80%, and I got two more homes over that time. And now fast forward to I'm actually refinancing three homes at the moment and pulling out another 400,000 US because they've all appreciated by about 100%.
Okay.
So I'm getting about 400,000 US, which intend to use as down payment for hoping to get at least about another 1.4 million loan borrowing on that, and looking at commercial and multiplexes now over there. That, of course, thank you to Quentin, because he's opened my eyes to multiplexes and to not go after the single homes as much.
Yeah, I like Quentin's methodology of going bigger. I mean, going small, single deals. I don't know, singles. So many people say singles are good, but big ones are good too.
You did like singles forever, right? With the student rentals and all. You
Yeah.
probably have like, yeah. So,
It
but now
wasn't
is
it
that what
wasn't the ideal way to move. I mean, I built equity well with them because they perform well as singles, but it's not the ideal. So that's why obviously I'm transitioning to bigger with like the campground now and the construction in the US. Yeah, it's still building single homes, but we'll see how we can scale that up and go into bigger as well. So
Yeah, I'm also looking at the short-term rentals in Jacksonville. Apparently, it's really really I guess blooming, so to say, over there, and it's a whole new segment of migrant workers that are actually the ones that are staying over. Like I guess they come in just to work for the weeks and the weekends and rent these places. They want home.
yeah.
Uh, but the only issue is the inventory. They're like the homes there are like 80 and 90 and 100 years old. So there's a lot of work you got to put into them.
Right. I feel like Jacksonville is a city of many different neighborhoods because I've seen some really nice, like well-maintained, newly updated areas of Jacksonville. Like downtown particularly is really nice. But yeah, I know there's obviously going to be rougher areas that need more work and more money to bring them up to speed. But I truly do think that this short-term rental thing is kind of the investor's solution to cash flow in the modern age. When typical monthly rentals aren't cutting it, you can go all over to Timbuktu, or you could find a way to optimize in your current area.
Yeah, I saw that. Sorry, I want to ask. So what were you doing in Jacksonville? Like, were you just there surveying as to where you want to?
Just driving through.
Okay.
Just driving through. We drove all the way down, right? So we drove through and stopped there and had dinner one night, and yeah, just kind of took a look around. It was actually pretty nice. But yeah, I don't know it well. I've been there before too when I was younger, and we went to some rough areas, and I thought I had two different visions of Jacksonville in my head.
Isn't that like a lot like Florida, even Miami? You can turn the corner and all of a sudden you really don't want to be there. And,
yeah. There's that one area in Miami where they have all those murals. Like it's like that compound of all those like painted murals. And we walked from a breakfast restaurant that we went to. We're like, oh, it's like literally 5-minute walk. So this cool little hipster breakfast place. We had breakfast. We walk down the street, and all of a sudden everything's barred up. All the windows in all these houses are barred up. We thought we were going to get shanked, but we were okay. We got down there to the other end. But yeah, that's some of those bigger cities. You go downtown. I mean, not really in Naples so much. Like there aren't really any that scary areas. Like there's areas that are less good, but I've never really seen anything that concerns me. But yeah, I'm sure you'd find it in Jacksonville and Tampa, any of those places.
Yeah, so I go to Sarasota a lot. Like I've been going there for the last 5 years, at least twice a year. Me and my buddy has a place down there right on the beach. I love that place. We go golfing. We just go long weekends. So go on a Friday, come back on a Monday, and do the whole golfing, fishing, and all of that. So I was actually looking at Sarasota as well for investment, but it's a smaller island and it's kind of really, really priced right now. So Tampa is a good middle ground. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at Tampa as well for for investment properties, and then go there occasionally.
Yeah. And Tampa is like, I loosely looked at Tampa, again, just been through kind of passing through, but, online kind of like scoping out properties, and there's actually some real character properties in Tampa too. So like any place, you can find some really nice neighborhoods, and I know Tampa has them too. But yeah, that's what I would be interested in as well. But I just, I kind of picked my spot, and I'm going to run with that for the moment. But if you want to find multis, that's kind of, that to me seems like one of the better places to look. It's just the cap rates are so low. You mentioned multis, and I know everybody wants them, but that's the problem. Everybody wants them. Yeah. And, even going back to my conversation with, who was I speaking with about this? Jeremy Ivany in Chatham, he was saying, hey, I can still get the triplexes, but basically forget about the 12 plexes and the 10 plexes. Everybody wants them. The cap rates are just down to the floor. Yeah. So how are you combating that as you're working with Quentin? How are you combating that? And are you looking for multis down there? I think you mentioned you were. How are you finding good deals, and what are your parameters to find them?
So sadly, I rely on realtors to actually find the places for me. I'm not really searching myself, and I've got two really good realtors working for me. They send me all the performers of the buildings, and I kind of do the math. And if I need to, I'll run it by Quentin and see. It's actually the same methodology that you would use here. Mm-hmm. That we go ahead over there, except that they're not appreciating as crazily as Ontario is right now. So you get the stability, and every 3 to 4 years you get to refinance, unlike in Ontario where you can refinance every 2 years almost.
Every 1 year lately.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Like I just, because I also still have my full-time job, and honestly, sometimes those are like 8 and 10 hours a day. I'm doing the mentoring with Quentin with the intention of someday being able to buy a multiplex and the whole BRR myself or raise the market value and all of that. But honestly, I don't have the time. So
there's nothing wrong with that though. Like I like that. Like there's something to be said about not getting into that, and just when it's a necessity to build a team, you build a team, and they do it for you. So why not?
No, absolutely. So I'm getting the training right now. And what I decided, just because I don't have that time, because a lot of time going to Florida right now, and my current job. So I'm just planning to joint venture with Quentin on some of the new properties he's looking for partners, and I'm quite happy to just be a part of it, but not an active participant.
Yeah.
As that someday maybe I hope to be. But
is Quentin's working down in Florida right now? He's doing stuff down there?
No. I'm partnering with Quentin out here in Ontario.
Oh, Ontario deals. Okay.
He's buying a number of multiplexes almost every 2 to 3 months, which is great. So I'm able to partner with him.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. So that's awesome. I got to get him back on this show. It's been a long time. I think I had him on right before the first lockdown started. So basically 2 years now. Sad to say.
Yeah, it's grown exponentially, I'm sure, over those 2 years. 2 years for him are like 20 years for me, probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So since I don't often have that many Canadians who are investing in the US pretty regularly, let's just kind of go back through some of the fundamentals. How did you set up your structure to be able to invest down there?
So again, it's the coach, right? So my friend and his dad basically helped me. So what they do is so just to give you a little bit of his background, when he was deciding to invest in the US, he actually went and spent a whole year touring different cities that he had targeted for investing. So he did all the groundwork that ideally maybe I would never have done. So he did Detroit, he did Buffalo, and then finally settled on in Florida and in Orlando for specific reasons that they've got a huge medical complex over there that's kind of drawing a lot of people, population in their seniors that were only flocking to the East and West Coast for vacation homes, and now actually going to Central Florida as well, just because of this huge medical complex that's being built there. Then you've got, of course, all the amusement parks that are creating all these jobs, and those are constantly growing as well. COVID may have been a setback, but that's fine. I think there's something like, I forget the exact numbers now, but at this time, there's something like 10,000 people coming into Orlando almost every week, I think, which doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot for people that are looking for places to rent. So anyways, that's why once he had gone to and scoped out that Florida was going to be the place in Orlando, and then he set up a power team over there. So that's the realtors, the property manager, as well as the renovators, right? So it's great. So they find the place for me, and then they'll actually send me, I get a 200-page report once we get an inspector to go and look at the premises. And that report is so detailed that it has everything from when was the washing machine purchased, how old is the air conditioner. It's great. So 6 months from now, if something breaks down, I can just look at the report. Yeah, with an old one, so it was due for a change, and so on. So it's very thorough, it's very comprehensive, and basically I just sit here and e-sign papers, and I own a place, and then they do the property management, which is again finding the renters and renovating the place when they move, and so on. I think it's just like 7% is all that they charge for property management.
That's not bad. And when was the last one you bought?
So the last one I bought was in actually last year, 2020. Okay.
And what did you buy?
Again, it was a single family home. I only buy the single family homes, not necessarily condos. So this was a 2-bed. Those was a little smaller one than the last one, and it was just $90,000. So it was really cheap.
Also in Orlando.
Also in Orlando. You can't even get a parking spot in Toronto for $90,000.
That's absolutely true. You can't. So reno, what would you get into on reno on that one?
So this one actually did not need any rentals, because it already had a renter as well in there. And the cash flow was the 1%, so it was $900 a month.
So you just left it alone?
Yeah, I just left it alone. Once they move, so I go back to one of the places that I bought in 2016. That one I did have to reno, and it still boggles the mind when I talk about it. It was to do an entire ceramic flooring for the whole home, to renovate the washroom and new cabinets in the kitchen. It cost $10,000.
That's not bad.
It's literally 1/10. So it cost me $100,000 to buy what would be $1 million over here. It cost me $10,000 to renovate what would be $100,000 renovation here. Yeah, it's phenomenal.
That's really, it sums up why I like Florida so much. Is just relative price point. I mean, there's other reasons. I mean, of course, like it's so beautiful on the Gulf Coast. I find, like, I can't imagine a day where people don't want to be down there, especially with the weather we're going through right now. I wish I was there right now. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
my buddy that I was talking about that has a place in Sarasota, you literally open the back door and it's 20 steps from the ocean.
Yeah.
It's great now with being able to work from home. All those opportunities are now there to
Yeah.
grab.
Oh, I gotta say, I enjoyed my 3 months down there working remotely.
3 months.
3 months, yeah.
That's,
Jordan worked remotely as well, and yeah, I mean, just being able, like, we'd leave the place and we could be in 15 minutes seeing dolphins and like the intercoastal waterways, and yeah. So on the weekends, occasionally we'd rent a pontoon boat, like $200, and we'd be out like with dolphins around the boat and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Like, how do you beat that?
Yeah. We go fishing, and then that's what you do. The first thing they stop you is take you and show you the dolphins that are all around the bay. And then
it's a little tough for us because we're never out there early enough. Like, you want to go early in the day to see the dolphins before the boats all pick up the wake and
so
push them away.
My buddy's place in Sarasota, actually, the one that's on the beach, they lay out the nets every day, and you can see the dolphins come and pick them out from the nets, all the fish. So yeah,
I'd love to see that. That's awesome. So just the lifestyle down there is great, and of course people are flocking there. Politically, it's been pretty attractive for the U.S. in general. It's open, so economically, like, people obviously are pretty drawn to it. So I do see good prospects for its value in the future, relative to the rest. It always just seems so underpriced. I couldn't understand it, but I guess it's because it is kind of isolated off to the side, and there's not a whole lot of specific industry in Florida, but that's changing.
Yeah, I see the prices are moving a lot. And I've also been looking at Houston for, again, investments, because I have a couple of friends there that are investing, and great deals to be had there. Like, it's priced even better than Florida, but I'm just not sure about, there's this big immigrant population there as well that's coming. I should say immigrants, they're actually coming from other states. Again, a warm state, and zero corporate tax, and
right. Like, there's so many reasons to want to be there. My buddy's actually down there. I chatted with him as he was kind of planning to move. So he moved from Calgary down to Houston, and he was originally going to look for a job. I'm like, man, he worked in renovations. I'm like, you are primed to just start flipping houses. So he'd already flipped a couple in Calgary while working. I'm like, no, you need to just go into it. So that's what he's been doing. I got to get him on here to share his story. But yeah, he's constantly buying stuff down in Houston.
Oh, in Houston.
Yeah. I'll try and get him on here if he's willing to share. I have certain real estate friends that this guy, he was actually just a high school friend that got into real estate, but I have certain real estate friends that just don't want to come on the podcast. I'll ask them. No, not doing it. But hey, some people want to keep it private. Some people they just don't feel comfortable, like, being in the public eye that way, which I get it.
Oh.
But
I've always had and I've always had the need to want to share, and all my friends would say to teach anything that I've always kind of learned, and any way to help anyone. And watching your show has been even more of an inspiration for me to kind of want to go out and help people. Yeah, man, I've given away a lot, and the people who've come on here have given away so much, and it's a very helpful community. It's really nice that people are like that. When people are successful, people want company. They don't want to be alone in their success, right? That's what I tell all my friends. Yeah, someday I want to have like this place up in Florida, and I want all my buddies around me. Like, I want them. Yeah, exactly. Like, who's going to come see you if everybody's working all the time, doing Zoom conferences with them from across the world? No, so that's what life is. Right? So just bouncing back to this property that you got for $90,000, can we run through what those income and expenses look like? Obviously $900 a month for income, but what would your taxes be on that on an annual basis? So taxes are around $2,200. And insurance on something like that, maybe $1,000. Insurance is about $1,200 is what I got. And that's for like a $500,000 liability. Oh, $500,000 liability. Okay. Yeah. And then maintenance, I guess for something older like that, 10% is probably a better budget. Yeah, 10%. 10% is only $1,080 a year. I mean, paint can cost more than that, but Yeah, you can put 2,000, I guess, if you just want to be. But
Yeah,
honestly, there's not much to be done in this place. Once
yeah.
people move out, it's just a good paying job. And if there's some damages,
Right. Yeah. Just
yeah,
minor stuff, but there could be life cycle too. So it's not bad to have a little
yeah.
buffer there. Utilities, do you pay anything or it's all the owner or
No,
the
it's
tenant?
all the tenant that pays it.
Okay. And then management, you're paying 8%, you said?
7%.
And does that include releasing or you have to pay for leasing on top of that?
No, if it's releasing, I pay half of the first month's rent.
Okay. So we'll gross that up to just say 8%, assuming you're going to keep that tenant for a while. And then, so nothing for landscaping, miscellaneous. I'll just leave. I have $500 in there. We can play with this because, yeah, I know some of these numbers we're being conservative on. So what kind of mortgage did you get on the?
So on this one, just because it was last year, so I got like about 5.5%. But this is and I paid full cash for this home. So I'm refinancing it right now and bringing it over to a commercial mortgage, and I'm getting 3% on that.
3%. Okay, so 3%. Will you get 80% of what you paid, or is it worth more now?
No, it's I think it's worth about 120 now, so I'm going to get 80% of that.
Okay, 120. Yeah, let's just look at those numbers now. So did you just use like line of credit money or something like that to pay for this, or did you just had cash?
No, at that time I refinanced one of the places, right? So I had the equity in that. So when I refinanced, I used all of that to buy it. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So when you refinance this now commercially, are you going to be at 80% or it'll be 75?
No, 80%.
So still 80, 30-year AM or 25?
30-year.
30-year. Okay. Wow. You're gonna have to introduce me to your commercial lender.
Yeah, for sure. These guys are awesome.
3%, you think? Okay.
Yeah, 3.1. 3.1.
3.1.
If you want to be accurate, yeah.
Okay. So assuming we believe our 20% maintenance, which I mean, very well, if your air conditioner goes, you're over the $2,000 for a year. So if we believe that number, it looks like you're slightly negative on your cash flow, like maybe $80 or something.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've buffered in life cycle maintenance.
Right.
Yeah. So on a monthly, you probably see a little bit of cash flow, but except for when those little expenses come up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just the appreciation, and then of course the mortgage is being paid down, right? So
well, and when you get a new tenant in there, will you see more than
yes, absolutely.
900?
Absolutely. So
that's the big thing, right? There's potential to push it up. What would you say market rent is on that now?
I'd say it's closer to almost 1,000, 1,050.
Okay.
So about $150 more.
Right. So that puts you into positive territory. What are your thoughts on turning that one into an Airbnb?
These properties are kind of not in vacation areas, so to say, and I don't know about the whole migrant population, the demographic that I'm talking about for Jacksonville. I don't know whether that's applicable here, which is why I'm kind of taking the money out of here more and exploring the whole Jacksonville and even the multiplex opportunities elsewhere.
So, but Jacksonville would be a multiplex purchasing strategy, or you'd be Airbnb strategy in Jacksonville?
No, it would be Airbnb. Okay. So multiplex, I'm looking, just like you mentioned earlier, Tampa as well as Orlando. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can find a lot of multis inland too, in like weird little towns if you want to go there.
Yeah, I was looking at one place. I was looking at one place, and it was really it was like $860,000 for like an 8-plex. Which and it was I think the rents were like the revenue was like $12,000 a month on that. It looked a little too good to be true, but I have to get more details on those because there's so many of them, like in Tampa. That's what made me focus on this. Maybe there is good opportunity because Orlando seems to be, at least the homes are not that easy to come by now that they were in the past. So hence I'm looking at Jacksonville.
If you want to brainstorm some of these deals together, I'd just be curious and see what's happening down there. So feel free to run them by me. Yeah,
I can price I use your pricing spreadsheet as well, so I can price them and send them to you to take a look at.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just be curious and seeing kind of what you're looking at and looking at the opportunity. I've had these visions, and right before the first lockdown, I was kind of gearing up to it. I was having some conversations about starting a fund and then using it to do something like this, like get into buying larger properties, larger scale than you'd ever do on your own. And that is still something that I likely will do eventually. And so when I see bigger stuff like this, it kind of just gets those wheels turning. It's like, okay, yeah, there's an opportunity there.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I play badminton, and one of my buddies that I was playing with last week, I just happened to mention to him, and apparently he's been in the real estate market for at least about 6 or 7 years, and he did exactly what you just said, which is him and two other buddies got together and they pooled in their funds, and all of a sudden they've grown like 3 times more than I've done, and they're like got commercial properties they're buying now all over in Young and Steeles and all over in Ontario. I'm like,
right, because the good deals are out there, right? There's so many people with money that don't know what to do with it. Like that's a very common problem, especially with the people with the equity in their houses, or people that have just got huge RSPs or what have you. And the only way to access like registered funds like that is through something that's like actually a registered eligible product, right? So I don't know how that will work with the US stuff, but I suspect there's probably a way to even do it for US stuff where it could be RSPs, TFSAs, all that stuff, in a way to get that money working. And then it's like, I just interviewed Carmen on the show. She created District REIT. So she has a real estate investment trust. And I mean, just the scale of what can be done and then what's happening to real estate values, there's just so much opportunity there in my mind.
Yeah, so on that same note, like a lot of my friends, like honestly, I'd say 90% of my circle of friends and family are just holding on to equity in their home. They don't know because they're a little hesitant as to where to invest. They don't trust anybody, which is rightfully so. I mean, you've got to educate yourself. Like I learned everything from watching shows and educating myself. That education brings comfort, right? And that comfort then gives you the exploration and all of that.
Right. Education mitigates risk, right? That's
absolutely.
the Rav Tour line. Rav taught me that one, but he's right. Yeah, like I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, you really shouldn't do anything if you're not educated, because you could very well get yourself into hot water, like I have. Like I'm sure there's been moments where you've done things you wish you hadn't. We all have, right? Yeah. So you're working on some stuff here in Canada as well.
So in Canada, so I again, through a colleague that I met around the same time, 2015, 2016, she introduced me to Simple Investor. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Sounds familiar.
It's that Todd Slater, basically. He used to be a realtor in Mississauga, and he opened this. So what he does is he buys townhome complexes, and he converts them to senior residences. So I had never been an investor in real estate before. So basically in those days, there were properties in Sarnia and in Listerville, all these, that people were mostly retirement folk were flocking to once Toronto was trying to get too expensive. And literally I bought homes there for about 3 homes for like between $110,000 to $120,000. All you need to do is 20% down, and they take care of everything basically. Like after maintenance, after paying your taxes, after paying your mortgage on that property, you wind up with like $100-$150 in your pocket. So cash flow positive. And 5 years later, they've all doubled in price. The mortgage has been paid down, 25%, and you've got cash flow. I mean, it's great for people that want no risk, and he guarantees the rent. So irrespective of whether there's a tenant or not, he guarantees the rent.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's how I got into Ontario. So now all those places are up for refinancing. I sold one of them actually, and it was great because I needed cash for other investments. And the other 2, instead of selling them, I decided to refinance them. I can pull another 120 out of each of those places, so that gives me money to invest. And that's what I'm partnering with Quentin to kind of do in Ontario. So maybe another 1 or 2 just in my son's name for with Simple Investor, and then the rest with Quentin.
Oh, so he's been doing this for a while, Simple Investor.
Yes. I think about 7 or 8 years, 8 years now, and he's got this huge. I think it was 65,000 square foot office in Burlington somewhere. So,
so a deal like that, what would that look like? Is that a single family home, or is it a townhome, condo?
These are all condos. These are 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and even 1 bedroom. Condos. Do you hang on, I have it somewhere here, but so I'll just talk off the top of my head until I can find the file. So basically I bought them for like 100,000 was one of the places that I bought, and this was in Barber Avenue. These were condos there in Listerwell, the town of Listerwell.
Okay.
So 20,000 down, and mortgage on that was, I think it was those days it was about 5%, but like on 80,000, I think it was at $250 was interest and principal or something like that way. It was really cheap. Sorry, I could just pull that up somewhere.
And would that have been a 30-year as well?
No, those were 20 years. At that time, I don't
25 or 20?
Yeah, 25 years, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at.
And those were rented for what kind of number?
So the, sorry, one second, I'll just pull it up.
Okay.
I should have had this up here. So the overall rent for that, I think, was $900. And after they take maintenance and all of that, I was getting like about $600 every month from each of those properties.
Okay.
And then
the mortgage payment came out of that.
Yeah, the mortgage payment was like $250 or some odd, and then there was taxes for the property on that. So I'd wind up with like $100, $150 in my pocket after everything was paid, and no maintenance at all. It's not like I'm getting a call and saying the windows have to be upgraded.
No, they do everything, right? So they're guaranteeing your rent, taking care of your maintenance. For a predetermined fee, or just whatever happens, they take care of it.
No, predetermined fee. It's always the same.
Interesting. And what's the angle in it for him? Like, so he's taking something that was one and he's condoing it out and selling off the individuals. Is that right?
Yeah. So he's buying them wholesale. So he's buying the entire whole complex wholesale, getting some money renovated, and then maybe he gets them for like 70, 80, but he's selling them to us for like 100, 110. And then he gets on the property management, right?
Carmen used to do that. She used to buy up buildings and then get them condo and then sell off the individual units. She loved that strategy. I don't know if that's part of what he's doing, but yeah, that's the same idea. Buy it wholesale, rent out the individual units, sell them off, and it's just
property manage.
Yeah, exactly. Property manage, make sure it continues to work out. I mean, there's obviously, it's not without its headaches to do that kind of strategy for the people who do it. For the people who buy it, it hopefully is low headaches, but.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was painless. Like for an introduction to the real estate investing business, it was literally painless. It still is painless. Like it's just that by learning more, you want more bigger bang for your buck now. But for people that are hesitant, he's a great intro.
Rodney, have you had bad experiences in real estate? Because it just sounds like it's all going well.
No, I've actually had no bad experiences yet.
I don't think I've had anybody who's ever said that on the show. Maybe I just don't ask this. I don't know.
No, that's the thing, right? Like I'm hesitant to get out, like land out with the Quinton thing, right? I could certainly go out and I'm learning enough to go and put down on a building and get into all of that, but I'm kind of bad habit averse, so to say. And I'd rather let Quinton do it. It takes something off the, the bottom line. I'm not going to make as much as I would have, but then there's a cost to that headache, right? And right now I don't need that. It's not important to me at this time. If I can grow the US business, like honestly, it's growing exponentially every 3 to 5 years. And if I do like where I want to be 10 years from now, along with that, not even including like what we can achieve there, I'm in a good place. I don't want to take on the additional headache.
Yeah, and I don't blame you. And I think I shared this on this podcast. Like I'm JVing on the first build I'm doing in Florida and giving up half the money, but I'm getting something for my money. I'm getting certainty to a certain degree. I'm getting not needing to invent the wheel. So to me, those things are all worth it. Paying for your education, and actually, I still get paid while I'm learn. So whereas people go to university and pay to learn. So.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. Like when people ask me, like, why did you pay so much money for a mentorship? I'm like, you know what? You could pay like upwards of 100,000 for an MBA, and there's still no guarantee you're going to get a job or you're going to get any business case at the end. So,
and I would argue there's very few practical skills that you can go out and actually monetize it right away out of an MBA. Like you still have to synthesize the ideas in your head and go learn specific strategies. But yeah, a lot of general knowledge. That's one thing I'll say from going to business school that I appreciate. Did you go do your MBA as well? Well, I didn't do an MBA.
No, I did not. No, I didn't. I had done my schooling back in Pakistan before I came here. So I just jumped straight into the workforce. But my son's in university now, and he's at Laurier, and I was actually telling him about your your interview a couple of weeks ago, the one you had where like you're thinking about whether you really want to send your son to university now, where
Yeah.
the 4 years to lose money and how that was a
Yeah.
great analogy.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, I really do mean that. Like when it comes time and my son wants to go, if he does, I'm going to tell him, make him tell me why before I help him. You got to tell
No,
me why.
so when I told my son that, he says, okay, so can I drop out now? Is this a good time for me to drop out? Are you convinced? I said, no, it's your third year now. Just go through it.
Yeah.
We'll
I mean,
talk
if
when
you're
you're
that
done.
far in, at the end of the day, I think it's just, yeah, what are you going to do with this? What's it going to do for you? I definitely think the business skills have helped me. But I mean, what would I have thought about this if I could have said, maybe gone to work with Quentin for 3-4 years and not had him pay me a dime and work for him for free?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Would I have learned more doing that than I would have going to school? I would say I would have learned more from Quentin.
Absolutely. It's invaluable. You can't even put a price on that. Like, and that's the reason why I kind of want to get one of these properties for my son now, and then let him get into the whole refinancing and all of that, like at least the intro. And who knows where it goes from here? Like he's got a 20-year lead on me. So.
Right. Yeah. I just think about this. I'm like, man, like I actually get to teach my son, like to think outside the box. Like my parents were very much, not I'm going to say totally in the box, but my dad was a high school teacher. You know, my mom actually ran her own businesses, so that was kind of cool, but they very much followed the plan. So now I can actually kind of have my chance to shape a real, a real live person into, hopefully a savvy businessman. We'll see.
Yeah. He's got the genes like that. That's what me. Like my dad was never educated past just high school, and he was always a tradesperson. But he went after every opportunity he could think of. He's always business minded, always into construction, always into renovations, and he just loved it. And I feel sometimes that's what I got a bit of from him, just wanting. And it's not about I don't do any of this for wealth. Like I'll be honest with you, I'm not doing it. Like I mean, the money's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing it to be poor, but it's just that the drive to want to succeed in whatever it interests you. That's what it is. I mean, I'm sure you know what I mean. You're already out there and up there. So
well, I love like just getting stuff done. Like have a successful project. Or even smaller stuff than that. So yeah, like anything you do, it's worth doing well, right? So I definitely feel you on that. But I mean, it goes back to just. If I don't do it and I'm going to have to go work a job or something, or have somebody, account for all my time and tell me where I can be and when I can eat lunch, well, then for me, I just want to be free of that. Like just the freedom to choose, even if I have to work harder working for myself. That's just been my drive. Not everybody thinks like that. For me, that's just been a huge thing. I just want to be able to do.
No, I agree with what you're saying completely. Like I'm a project manager, basically. That's what I've been. So back about 10 years ago, like I was pretty senior, I had a good job. I had like 30 people reporting to me. It was great. But I found the higher I go, the less work I'm doing. And I didn't really enjoy it. So I actually scaled down and I started contracting now. And I just do project management because it gives me a chance to deliver something. Like, I have something tangible that I'm working on.
Oh, yeah.
And then that now has translated into what I'm doing with Quentin. One thing Quentin taught me, which you think I would know as a project manager, is to have your tasks set out for the week. And all of a sudden, I've got like 20 to 25 tasks that are accelerating all of my work in not at my job, but like outside of that, once my job finishes, like I've got all these things to do just to accelerate the whole refinancing, the property searches, the pricing of multiplexes and all of that. So that discipline that I'm getting has been great. Being accountable and having to answer at the end of the week, okay, what did you tick off and what did you get done? What did you not get done? What's your plan? That's a discipline I needed to kind of just fast track, basically.
It's funny when it's yourself, right? Like, when you're dealing with somebody else's project, the things that you need to get done, but when it's your own stuff, I think we all get so caught up in our own fog that we don't, we don't see, the bigger picture for ourselves sometimes. Of course, when we stop and think about it, we do, but how often do we stop and think about it? We probably all need to do it more. Yeah. No, that's great. So he's getting you working on some organization to start, and then obviously some clear goal setting.
Yeah. So we're actually going through all these modules in which the last couple of weeks has been about the different kinds of financing and funding that's out there, and learning about when to take backs and purchase and sales and just sales agreements and so on. It's been an interesting work I never really thought about. And the other thing is like there's only limited funds that I have, so learning about the other people's money, and that's what you started. I remember watching you with Carmen back. I don't know how old that was, but where you spoke about borrowing and I think it was pro funds and getting to your student rentals and all of that. So
I never think of money as the hard part. Money's not. The deals are the challenging part. The good deals always find money. That's my thought. And like I said, like, and I think you can agree, you know, so many people sitting on money, right? If you came to them with absolute confidence about a deal that you knew was going to make money, how many of them would open their wallets? Maybe, I mean, that's a rhetorical question. I don't know exactly how many would, but somebody.
I think I think that's what, I think you're right. And that's what Quentin has been teaching. Like, I've got to have a good performer. I've got to have like, good stats there about what I've done and be confident and know that I'm not there yet.
Yeah, the key thing is you have sold yourself, right? The hardest sale, I forget that there's a book called The Hardest Sale, I think. And the hardest sale is yourself. If you sold yourself, you can sell anybody else. But a lot of people try and sell other people before they themselves are sold on the product they're offering. And so if the product you're offering is you and your abilities, that's the thing. It could be very specific. Like I remember the first times that I raised money that way, it was a very specific deal. I came and I'm like, look, I got this. I know this is good. This is why I know this is good. And people are like, well, you're so enthusiastic about it. I can see that you know what you're talking about. Okay. So enthusiasm sells too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I'm able to sell a lot like this because people tell me I'm honest, and I like to be like, everything's on the table for me always. I have nothing to hide, and I really don't want to gain on other people's losses and so on. So
yeah, I never really thought that I was a salesperson. I never really thought I was good at sales. But I've never thought of myself as being in sales. I think we should think of ourselves that way, but it's really just, telling it like it is. Like if I think something's good, why wouldn't I want to tell other people about it? And if I can benefit, I'll just be transparent about that, and everybody can win. Why wouldn't everybody want that? And
that's a great quality to have. Yeah. Honestly, it is.
Yeah. When people just simplify, right? You got to demystify it. Sales isn't a big thing, right? The example, the kid checking out at the grocery line, asking mom for a chocolate bar. And, come on, mom, can I have a chocolate bar? Hey, if you've done that, you've done sales. Yeah. Anyways, not to detract. It's been nice talking to you today, Rodney. I appreciate it. And if people wanted to connect with you, what should we do? Where should we send them?
I have an email. So I guess I'll put it on at the end of this.
You can send
rodnai@hotmail.com.
Okay.
So just again, it's rodnai, not NEY. So
okay. What you can do is just fire me an email, and I'll put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Okay. And, but I want to mention also, I'm happy to help anybody. Like, if they just want to know what I did, want details, and how to proceed, how to start off, how to get started, I'm more than happy to help anyone.
Is there anything you want to, or you would have wanted to share that we haven't talked about?
No, just that I tell everybody who's on the fence to go ahead and take that step. That's the hardest. It's that first step to get over. And once you're there, once you're comfortable, it just comes automatically. You know what I'm talking about. You just and watch Andrew a lot. Like watch all of the episodes, just like he says from episode 1. And it's the comfort that you need to kind of take those next steps.
Yeah, hearing so many people's success stories, it just makes it demystifies it, right? That's the big thing, right? If all these people can do it, there's so many we're all just average people at the end of the day. Like we're all, finding our way. If other people can do it, you can do it.
It's the commitment. You just got to be committed. You got to believe. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thanks again. Really appreciate it. And let's stay in touch. Let me know as you're making moves in Florida. Keep sharing those details with me.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Andrew. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Please make sure to share this episode far and wide. Help it help more people. I really appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you on the next one.